have something to admit to you, Truth Seekers. You all know I'm not one for following agendas or taking orders from anyone. I usually trust my bile and pizza-filled swill vat I call a gut. That's why I'm forced to make a confession to you all. Steve, as demonically brilliant as he might be, was not solely responsible for hacking into this site. Purity First, the anti-human enhancement group who've made a name for themselves by staging violent protests against limb clinics around the world, were the ones who originally supplied us with the codes, provided we make sure we spouted elements of their agenda forward. Now, at first, I had no problem with that. I respect their cause. We agreed on some fundamental issues like OGs are bad for this world, and that butchering our bodies for the sake of trying to achieve a form of superhuman aesthetic was only going to lead us to one place, Apocalypse County. All good, right? Well, the more I started researching my friendly little sidekicks, the more I started asking questions. Sure, they seem like an honest insurrectionist group looking to overthrow this evil regime, but where were they getting their guns? I mean, let's be honest, the soldiers in Purity First don't exactly look like they've been born with a silver spoon. Their ranks are mostly made up of street kids and orphans turned rebels. Someone must be lining their pockets. And what I found was, well, Truth Seekers, weirdness. I'm talking deep throat, Woodward and Bernstein type weirdness. I can't name names right now, Truth Seekers, because I don't want Steve to get picked off on his way home from work today. But let's just say that in Purity First, we may be dealing with a power more dangerous than David Sarif himself. Talk about calling the kettle black. Purity Last is more like it. But this just shows that we're living in a world more volatile than it's ever been. The liars lurk in the shadows, and we gotta be careful the truth doesn't get blurred in all this talk of moral purity. I think I even got duped on this one, Truth Seekers. But don't worry, we've still got plenty of hack codes to go around, so we'll definitely be back on this site next week. Don't forget to log on. So it's official, people. We've received our first string of death threats over here at the studio. Let me make it clear that I am not shocked. I expected this. Whether it's Purity First's cronies because of how I investigated and exposed them last week, or Sarif Industries security squad, who must be so teeth-grindingly frustrated that they can't shake us off their site, someone just had to resort to the predictable private caller routine. But I swear to all you truth seekers out there, threats won't stop us from talking about how these evil biotech cores and their Illuminati scientists are preparing to wage war on us. Or if it's these Purity First nuts who think a good reason to oppose human enhancement is because God's gonna fire a thunderbolt into each one of our mechanically altered asses. But hey, I get it. We got a full head of steam arms race right now. Ah, screw it. It's an arms and legs race, and Sarif Industries is right at the center of it. They've got their lobbyists in Washington and their shareholders on Wall Street making sure they get the political and investment might to create a state of perpetual war. And of course, Purity First and their nameless backers are going to have to match that buildup through organized crime, backed by some faceless but oh so powerful men. The mass enslavement alert chart has gone from orange to blood freaking red. How long before the technological dominance of those on either side of the moral fence leads to a police state? Not long. You know how I know? Because as my covert sources living deep inside the darkest dungeons of the world's most elite power cults tell me, the men behind Purity First are all just major frontmen for bringing around the Illuminati's evil plans for a new world order. And they know I know it. Why do you think I'm getting phone calls every hour? What was that, Steve?
Come out, shitbird!
Shit, Steve! Shh!
Take him out!
We got a problem, Seekers. We gotta go right now before...
Okay. I don't think we'll be seeing him anymore. don't know, maybe he survived, maybe he didn't. Riots continue. Open fire to the crowds. Oh, those are real links.